I think the way my brain works, I feel very like I'm very much a person who loves to plan. I love having order to things. I
Yeah.
love knowing like what I'm walking into every single day. And it
Yeah.
sounds like
I
for
am not
what
that way,
you
my
do,
friend.
you're not that way.
I am not
That's
that
great.
way.
Cuz it sounds like yeah, when I hear that, I would get very uncomfortable in the waiting, I think. I think I've like this is like more something I'm trying to work on personally now is like being patient with things and not forcing stuff as
hmm
much. But that sounds like something you're naturally pretty okay with is like I don't need to force work or force this film or force things like maybe until you know it's the thing you need to be
Right.
working on, you know? But it sounds like you're okay with that waiting.
I'm okay with the waiting for sure. I will qualify though that like, I direct commercials is my day job, right?
Mm,
I don't wait around
right,
on that. Like I
right,
have multiple meetings like a month. If I'm not getting boards, like I'm on like my managers and agents essentially.
yeah,
And not just that, but once I do like once I pitch on a project, which is a 2 to 3 week full court press,
yeah,
like that's what I'm mostly doing. If I then win the job, it turns into 2-ish months of like 9 to 5,
right,
well, 9 to 9, like
right,
intensity on that project. I know exactly what I'm doing. I get like my producers send me like a daily calendar. This is what you need to do today. I need this, this, and this from you. And I, so I bring that up to say that like there is that kind of very intentional, structured side of my life and my work,
mm,
which is necessary, and I do appreciate. If I only did it like that, though, I would crumble.
right,
I would run out of everything. So a lot of times I'll do this like very intense, structured experience on a commercial, and then the backside of it is like 2 months of wandering around, poking at things, right?
right, yeah,
And trusting then that like I may have to put that down because I've got to like go pay the rent,
yep,
doing this project. And I trust that the things I was poking around on are going to inform how I do my day job. And like my day job gives me an amazing amount of like structured time to not think. Like I'm forced to not work on the subway dock because I can't. I don't have time.
right,
And so it is a helpful rhythm. I feel like that this is a rhythm that has developed in a positive way. I think for me is that kind of planting and harvesting, kind of rhythm.
yeah,
I feel like has been an intentional thing over. If I were just floating around like poking stuff, I would like run out of money and not
right,
eat,
yeah, right,
and nothing
yeah,
would get done. So I can't only
right,
do that for
sure.
sure.
Yeah. It's interesting that you bring that up. I know that you're still self-employed, you're still on your
I am,
own,
yeah,
but this is an interesting thing that I've been interacting actually with a lot of friends lately who there is this weird freedom in having like a quote unquote day job
yeah,
and then having your creative endeavor be something that you don't need money from.
yes,
And I think that it might just be in our this generation of like you need to do what you love for your job mentality. But and a lot of us, like I've been there, done that in the past
mhm,
where I was just freelance. I was the meanderer wandering
yep,
around with zero
yep,
structure. And that was like arguably the worst time of my life is
yeah,
just having
for
like
sure,
this total freedom.
yep,
And it was very interesting because it's what I thought I wanted forever. And then once you're there, it's actually really difficult and really hard. And I think a lot of creators who I know have hit the same wall where it's like it's not what you expect to just do
no,
whatever you want all day every day. And I think it's interesting that even you have a couple months where you get to do whatever you want, but then you have a
yep,
couple months where you're very structured, and
yep,
that balance is really healthy. But you've
yeah.
found that balance really helps you stay in a
It
good
does.
spot.
It does. And I mean, I say this to people all the time. Like, I don't like a day job is not a pejorative like phrase to me.
Right.
Not in the slightest, because even if you are the freest person in the world, like,
Mm.
I mean, I say this all the time. Like, I know it because I pitch against them. The biggest, most famous movie directors that you know, that you are just like, surely Wes Anderson
Mhm.
doesn't like have to do like stupid stuff. He can just work on his movies. Absolutely not. The guy directs
Yeah.
commercials on a regular basis to pay his bills. Like
Mm.
there is no such thing as like total freedom. Everyone has to pay the rent somehow, and they will. I mean, the number of people who only work on their own projects, I mean, probably have a trust fund.
Right.
And like
Right.
that's a different like I'm sure there's different set of struggles that come with that. I don't know what they are, but I feel like,
Right.
for those of us who like actually have to pay the rent, a day job, like it doesn't matter how it ends up shaking down, like that will be part of our lives. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And not just that, but I feel like there's a lot of freedom that comes from keeping that work in the proper context, right?
Yeah.
So for me, when I go do commercials, for instance, like I love the process of doing commercials. I say it all the time. It's like getting to work out with an extremely expensive personal trainer, right?
Mm.
Where like there's something I want to get better at as a filmmaker. And I set the intention before every job. This is what I want to work on this time. Like I feel like sometimes when I get asked a question from an agency creative or something, when they start talking about wardrobe, I don't really have great answers, right?
Mm.
I'm very dependent on my stylist to like make these choices. All right, so on this next one, I want to find a wardrobe stylist who's very collaborative, who's open to like explaining their thought process to me so that like I want to make several very specific choices that I have to back up on this project.
Yeah.
That's the entire goal of this commercial is for me to like walk away having a better grasp of how to be a good leader, decision maker, and creative like person when it comes to wardrobe. And
Yeah.
then the next one, I may say, I want to shoot like I want to find a way. I am uncomfortable shooting like on a dolly, and I want to integrate dolly work into this next commercial
Mm.
because I need to like that will make me a better filmmaker. And so I find that a day job, if you kind of keep it in the proper focus, can honestly unlock an enormous amount of growth and potential in your other endeavors, right?
Right.
I think like getting away from a day, it's just, it's some that pejorative nature of how people describe day jobs like a big pet peeve of mine,
Yeah.
because it can be really amazing, and it also can become a crutch, and then you need to leave it, right? Like
Right.
it can also be the
Golden
thing that like
handcuffs.
100% where you're like you're scared to try anything that's not at a certain level or, whatever it may be. Like at some point you're going to have to say no to it as well. But I think that like you'll know when that time comes. But in and of itself, like I think interacting and engaging with a day job is a critical skill to have as a creative person in 2022.